recording.
Okay, we're going to call the special voting meeting to order. We could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. And before we start with the special voting meeting, we've had a death in our Danubin family. A student at the Intermediate Center died last Thursday, and I would like to celebrate his life with a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our first item. We need roll call. Mr. Stock.
Ms. Albright.
Here.
Mrs. Bell.
Here.
Mrs. Jarrett. Here. Mrs. Leone.
Here.
Ms. Olson.
Here.
Mr. Scott here. Mr. Strobel.
Here.
And Mrs. Thompson.
Here. Okay. So, procedures for public participation. You have a prepared statement to be read to the board. You should have a copy to present to the board president prior to their being addressed. Comments on agenda items will be made by rising and approaching the microphone, stating your name and address, signing the sheet provided. You'll be granted up to 3 minutes to address the board. Your 3-minute time limit will start when you begin to speak. When your 3 minutes are over, you will be asked to be seated. Any item that is not on the agenda, as well as items acted upon, comments will be made at the designated section at the end of the agenda. This is the special voting meeting. We have a handful of items that we're going to vote on, and we are also going to select a new board member to fill our vacant seat in Region 3. We won't have comment periods after every section at this part of the meeting. There will be a point at the end of the meeting, at the end of this part of the meeting, where you will have the opportunity to speak on any item that you wish that isn't, even if it's not on the agenda. However, if we will be having a lengthy discussion about transportation during the committee of the whole. So if you would like, you can wait until then to give your comments, if that's what you're here to talk about. Because we have so many people, and I'm assuming a lot of people want to make comments, I am going to hold everybody to their 3 minutes. I am going to hold everybody to coming up to the mic once. So if you've got something to say, make it count. And I appreciate your patience.
Okay, at this time, what?
And I will ask for agenda edits, if we have any, for
Yes.
this agenda.
I do have agenda edits.
Can you move your mic down?
I'd like to add to that from our finance committee, from our facilities committee. We have a fire sprinkler pump that needs to be addressed. And the bid would be up to $5,000.
Up
And
to?
the other one would be for the Glyco heater that needs to be replaced. And I did not jot down the billings. I'm sorry. It's on the paperwork he gave us. And that would be $4,200 to replace the heat and air port.
All right, would it be okay if we put that on the finance added consent for those two items?
It's for
Because we do not have a facilities subheading for the voting meeting. Is that okay?
It can go under finance.
Okay, so Mr. Strobel would like us to add under 2A, adding a glycol feeder for the DBAIC that was approved out of facilities and transportation, not to exceed $4,200. And number 3, a fire pump,
It's a sprinkler pump.
a sprinkler pump. Okay, a sprinkler pump that was approved out of the Facilities and Transportation Committee, not to exceed $5,000. Do I have a motion to add those two?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Gierick, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Bell, any questions, comments, concerns for Mr. Strobel or for administration before we add it to the agenda?
I can add the buildings now. I found them. It's at the high school's the heat exchanger for the 4,200, and for the
Glycol feeder?
the sprinkler system is at. He doesn't have a list on it.
Yeah, he didn't have that one
Yeah,
on.
on the glyco feeder, that would have been the again not listed in the
Okay.
agenda, so sorry.
All right. Anybody, before we vote on adding it to the agenda, anybody have any questions? Can I get a roll call vote?
Ms. Albright,
Yes.
Mrs. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Jarrett,
Yes.
Mrs. Leoni,
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes. Mr. Strobel,
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson,
Yes.
Mrs. Olson.
Yes. Okay, having said that, do I have any presentations by the public on agenda items for the special voting meeting? Okay, seeing none. For finance, 2A, 1 through 3, can somebody make a motion for those?
I'll make it.
Somebody to make a second?
Second.
And any discussion? What I heard during the facilities committee, there were several items that are needing to be repaired or replaced, but these two were very pressing, and that's why Mr. Withers wanted us to push this through to vote today if possible. So, if the board doesn't have any questions, Mr. Scott, can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Albright,
Yes.
Mrs. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Jarrett,
Yes.
Mrs. Leoni,
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes. Mr. Strobel,
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Olson.
Yes. And having voted on that, I would like to say thank you to Optima Nail Salon of Douglasville for offering a donation to the Intermediate Center Special Ed Department. Any support we get from the community is appreciated. 3A, 1 inclusive. Do I have a motion for that?
Motion.
Ms. Bell, do I have a second? Second. Any discussion on those appointments? Can I get a vote?
Mrs. Albright,
Yes.
Mrs. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Jarrett,
Yes.
Mrs. Leoni,
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes.
Those are both the DIC.
Mr.
Yeah, that's
Strobel,
what I.
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Olson.
Yes. Okay, moving on to new business. We have a vacant seat in Region 3, and I had several people put their names in as being interested in joining the board. I'm going to ask them if they're here to come up to the mic, talk for a couple seconds, and maybe answer some questions. And Mr. Scott is coming back. All right.
I just had a moment.
All right. So
What are we?
I don't know if he's here, but Greg Gutierrez. Okay, let the record show he's not here. Marissa Conaway.
Thank you to the board and Dr. Cooper for having me here tonight as candidate for the open seat representing Region 3. My name is Marissa Conaway, and I've been a member of this community for the past 7 years. My family and I moved here from Delaware County when we had our oldest, falling in love with the area and knowing that this is where we wanted to raise our children. We have since made wonderful friendships, been supported by the great opportunities in the county, such as the IU, and enrolled our 2 children, currently in 2nd grade and kindergarten, in the Daniel Boone Area School District. I'm excited for the opportunity to give back to our community that has already given us so much. I have a true passion for education, having taught for the last 10 years as a 5th grade teacher, 2nd grade teacher, and kindergarten teacher. I earned my bachelor's in elementary education from Mansfield University of Pennsylvania and my master's degree in early childhood education from the California University of Pennsylvania. During my undergraduate years, I served as the president of our Student Government Association and the chair of our Committee on Finance. Being a member of the board would be an absolute honor. As a school board member, I would feel an obligation to be informed, learning as much as I could about pressing issues, seeking answers when needed, and listening to the community to truly represent our district and our area. I would be objective, balancing passion with logic, and always considering our district's mission. And I would be accountable for my own opinions and decisions, my effort to work as a team, in valuing and respecting others' opinions, and confidentiality, always promoting a culture of unity and support for our district. I would truly appreciate the chance to serve my community as the Region 3 representative.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to ask you the question that I remember one of the other board members asked of the last person that we appointed. What do you think the 2 most important things, challenges facing the district are?
I would say that the most challenging thing that's coming up would be academics. Looking at the PSSA scores over the last couple of years, I personally am concerned specifically about mathematics and specifically about those middle grades. The scores to me just aren't there. And then another concern of mine would be just foreseeing the future a little bit, would be the collective bargaining agreement for our professional staff coming up at the end of the spring term. Those tend to get a little emotional, and there's probably going to be some input from the community about that, especially with the teacher shortage and teacher burnout the way that it is. I can foresee that being a problematic conversation.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
I asked the same question to everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many? So I ask everybody the same question. How many board meetings have you been to in the last year?
I haven't been to any. This is actually my first thing.
I have a question.
Sure.
Are you on social media websites such as Seven Chit Chat, Birdsboro Today, We Are DV?
I am on social media. I try to keep out of the Birdsboro Today, tomorrow, next week kind of things. I do have a pulse on what's going on in our community. And I like to go to community events. I'm a big supporter of the library. And my son went to the IU, so I have a lot of community ties, but not necessarily through social media.
Fair
You're
enough.
not a commenter on those posts.
What was that?
You're not a frequent commenter on those.
I wouldn't say I'm a frequent commenter now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Gretchen Markle.
Hi, good evening. My name is Gretchen Markle. My husband and I have been residents of Region 3 for 25 years, where we have raised our 3 boys. Our oldest son graduated in 2021, and we have a son in both the middle and high schools. While working full-time, I went back to school at 40 and got my bachelor's degree in accounting from Albernia University, graduating summa cum laude in 2018. Before becoming an accountant, I was an executive assistant for 15 years. Previously, I was on the board of Birdsboro Christian Preschool, where I was able to vote on decisions for running the school. I feel having, just that brief experience does help me in this position. All of you know me. As this is not my first school board meeting, I can honestly say that I have attended all but 2 school board meetings since September 27th of 2021. One thing I can say that I believe I've added is the public comments, question responses that are on the school board website. I believe is partially a result of my suggestion from last fall, so that does help our community. I hope that you take my commitment over the past year in consideration when casting your vote for the new board member. I look forward to working with each of you as I strive to do the right thing for the students and families of our school district. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask my question that I asked. I plan to ask everybody else. What are the 2 most important, most pressing issues that you see facing the district right now?
I would have to say unifying the student body and encouraging parent engagement.
Okay.
I don't need to ask mine, I already know the answer.
For those who are here, I think that Ms. Markle has a better attendance record than some of the people sitting up here for meetings. Anybody else have a question? Yeah, go
I
ahead.
have mine on social media.
So I am on those sites, but I do not participate. I have in the past, but not recently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Markle.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, going alphabetically, Tara Myers. Saw her earlier, there she is.
Good evening.
Hey,
My name is Tara Myers, and my husband and I moved to Burnsboro 21 years ago, even before we had kids. We love the area, thought it would be an excellent place to raise our family, and the school district came highly recommended. We love our neighborhood, and I would like to give back to the people who welcomed us into their community with open arms. I'm a parent of a Danny Boone High School 2021 graduate who now attends Kutztown University for education, and I'm a 5th grader in the middle school. As a parent, I understand the concerns families have right now regarding safety, budget, transportation, education, extracurriculars, and staffing. While I truly believe the Danny Boone Area School District is a wonderful place to learn, there is always room for improvement. I am a technical clerk for Limerick Generating Station, and I've been there for 16 years. I'm president of our Employees Association. We work with charities and school districts in the Pottstown Tri-County area. And I currently serve on the board as the secretary for the Blazer Midget Football and Cheerleading Organization. I was head cheerleading coach for BMF for 5 years and was an assistant coach last year for the Danny Boone Middle School cheerleading. I love working with the community and students and would put both of their needs at the forefront of all decision.
thank you. I'll ask my question. What do you think the 2 most pressing issues facing the district are? See, by the 3rd person, I figured out how to frame that question.
I'm going to say transportation and budget.
I'm going to throw you off and change it, just kidding. Same question.
I have not been to many this past couple of years, but I've been there.
One, two, three, one. Seconds to line.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And one more. Steve Rittenhouse?
Hello.
Hey.
I apologize for jumping the gun there. I didn't realize we were alphabetical. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I also didn't prepare a statement because honestly I would go to read it right now. I'm out of conviction with my eye, but
Yeah,
fine.
can you lean in a little bit? The mic is on. It's just-
So, my wife and I moved to the borough in 2014. We started a family here and now have 3 children. Our oldest will be starting kindergarten next year. We're active members of the community, especially our church, St. Mark's Lutheran, here in Birdsboro. We participate as volunteers at their events, and I have served on their council since 2018 and currently serve as that council's president. Professionally, I'm an engineer in the steel industry. I work at the steel plant down in Coatesville, but the company I work for is actually in Indiana, so I'm used to working with different organizations, different unions from different plants, and ultimately work towards the same goal. I believe that most problems, all problems, can be solved through unity and through diverse opinions, and I'd be honored to bring my talents to this group. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question. What are the two most pressing issues facing the district right now?
So, obviously, after the pandemic and the lockdowns and issues with education, getting back on track, I think is a big task that still needs to be accomplished. And then the other thing I would say is there's a lot of division within the district. I can sense it through different organizations, different posts online, and stuff like that. So I hope to bring some unity to that.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have been to one other meeting.
Which
And
one
I
was
did not.
that?
Huh?
Which one was that?
That was the transportation meeting after you approved
Oh, today?
the budget. No.
After we approved.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
And
you
then-
said you've seen the online stuff, so you.
Yes, but I do not post.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
No.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So there are 5 folks that are, I know one wasn't here, but legally you don't have to be here to be chosen to serve on the board, so I've got to have that name out there as well. Alphabetically, Greg Katarius, Marissa Conaway, Gretchen Markle, Tara Myers, Steve Rittenhouse. So, can I get a motion for 4A1? And then we'll discuss. It's written as to be determined, so can I get a motion for it the way it stands?
I'll make that motion. Okay, great.
Mr. Jarrett and Mr. Scott? Does that sound good?
Yep.
All right, so now we can have a discussion. We can just, we can have a discussion first if you'd like, or we can just do a straw poll first. I prefer to do a straw poll. So, I'm just gonna go around the table. Everybody just because if there's 5 people for one person, it makes the job a little easier. If there isn't, we'll cut off some people at the bottom that have fewer votes and try to and maybe have some discussion, do a straw poll again.
Do I have to track
Vote
this?
with name or person?
Yes, unless you want to have discussion first.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So,
Do I have to track this?
no, I'm doing it.
Okay.
So,
I'm sure you call me first.
Mr. Thompson, Mrs. Thompson, I know who you are, Mrs. Thompson.
I vote for Steve Rittenhouse.
Ms. Bell,
Rittenhouse.
Ms. Albright,
Myers.
Julia Olafson, Steve Rittenhouse, Mr. Scott,
I'll do Rittenhouse.
Mr. Strobel,
Steve Rittenhouse.
Ms. Leone, and Mr. Jarrett.
Ms. Markle.
Okay, so there are 5 for one person, so I'd like to amend the motion. We don't have to vote on it right away, we can have some discussion. I'd like to amend the motion to put in the name Steve Rittenhouse. Does somebody make that motion to amend?
Make it.
Do I have a second? Do we want to have any discussion before we vote?
So, just so I'm clear, so we're amending motion 4A1,
Mm-hmm.
making it,
We have a majority interested in voting for one person.
right?
If we want to have a discussion now, we can, and we can pull
No,
that name
I just
back. We
wanna
can
know.
pull that name back and change it if that's what you'd like to do, but, you know, if we have 5 for one person, that's a majority.
Okay.
Does anybody want to have discussion on that before we vote? Can I get a vote?
Tell me when I'm voting, so
Yes.
I'll go first.
Ms. Olson,
Yes.
No.
Mrs. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Strobel,
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes. Mrs. Leone,
No.
okay, Mrs. Jarrett,
No.
okay, Mrs. Bell,
Yes.
and Mrs. Albright.
Yes.
All right.
We are 6.
Thank you. I would like to have, congratulations, Mr. Rittenhouse. There is a seat right next to Mr. Jarrett. And I'm going to have our secretary read you the oath, if that's okay. Come on up. Go ahead. Yeah, just right over there.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Steve Rittenhouse, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
That was support to obey and defend the Constitution of the United States
and Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and Constitution of this country.
and that I will discharge the duties
And I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's going to be voting in our next, well, not technically, there's no voting.
So the reason that we did this at the tail end of the voting meeting is because that's the last item for
Right.
voting. The committee of the whole, we're going to be able to have a discussion, and he will be able to take part in that discussion as a full voting member, but there won't be any voting happening during the committee of the whole. So, do I have anyone who'd like to comment on anything happened during the voting meeting?
I would like to comment.
Okay.
Sorry.
Don't
My name is Melanie Hipster. I am a parent. I have 2 students in the David School District. I just would like to know what went on right here, because you came here with one Navy meeting under your belt. Gretchen Markle has a huge community involvement in our school board here. And I don't know what just happened, but this is not what democracy is about, okay? So you people who voted for him should be ashamed of yourself, okay? That's all I really have to say, but you people should be ashamed. And I will tell you, as a person that is on the board now, you better represent our community. Yeah.
I have to piggyback off of over here. Same thing. I'm appalled that you guys didn't pick Gretchen. I mean, she showed commitment to come here at school board meetings, which I've heard a lot of you say time and time over again how you sat here in our position doing the same sort of thing. And then all of a sudden this transportation thing comes up and all these people go berserk online and start bad-mouthing the board and all this other crap. And then they say, you know what, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go for school board. There's more going on in this school district than transportation. And I know because I've been coming here for X amount of time. So all I'm saying is that we're going to vote people that we want in this position. And I'm going to be sure that I'm there making sure the right people are in there for the job and not getting bamboozled or snuck in under the carpet, because this is just outrageous.
Do I have anybody else who would like to make a comment?
I'm a parent who cares.
Really disappointed.
The thing is, I think we're all parents in here. I know that you don't believe that of me, which is fine, but I don't understand why you would make a comment like that about someone you've never met, who also showed interest in the position that's up here. I spoke to every single one of the folks that were interested, and I took the time to get to know them a little bit more than what they provided. They all provided me with some information about their qualifications for the position.
You can
And I made a
control them.
decision.
That is the problem. You can control them.
As I said, you can have your opinions about me, but I would appreciate it if you would give a new board member a chance before you make those assumptions about them. So, anyone else would like to make a comment? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
And a second? Okay.